What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video I have a recipe that I am super excited about. This recipe is my newest creation and is one that is a riff off of the Barfi recipe that I posted a few days ago. Now for any of you guys don't know, Barfi is a type of Indian fudge. It's usually made in Trini households. Not super traditional in the Guyanese culture, but my family loves it and that's why I learned how to make it and I know how to make it. So this recipe right here is actually a spin off of the Barfi. I'm using it in this recipe, so it's gonna be a really cool recipe. I am doing a Barfi Tiramisu. Now for any of you guys that don't know what tiramisu is, it is basically these ladyfinger cookies which are very airy and they're usually soaked in coffee and they have a nice sweet cream on the top of it. And it's layered and then you cut it and you see all those nice little layers on the inside. But today I'm gonna go ahead and omit the coffee and I'm gonna make the cream into like a Barfi cream, and I'm gonna have some Barfi crumbs on top, and it's gonna be really delicious. I can't wait to share this recipe with you guys. This recipe is sort of dedicated to my auntie Kavita because she loves Barfi. Every time I make it, she's the first one that has to have a bite. And so I decided for this Thanksgiving, why not go ahead and make something with Barfi that's inspired by it. So I came up with this recipe and I can't wait to show you. So I hope you guys give this recipe a try and make this part of your holiday table, or just for any time you're feeling for a nice dessert. Let's get into it, guys. So before I begin making the Barfi Tiramisu, I wanted to let you guys know that all of my ingredients and measurements will be in the description box down below. So in a bowl here, I have some softened cream cheese that I went ahead and I mixed around a little bit. And into that cream cheese, I am going in with my milk powder, and I'm going in with some cardamom powder, also known as ground elaichi. And I am also going in with some ground ginger powder. Feel free to use freshly grated ginger if you wanted to. These are the three ingredients that are really going to give this dish that Barfi taste that we know and love. And once you add those ingredients in, you're going to go in with your hand mixer, or you can do this by hand with a whisk or a wooden spoon. You could even put this in your stand mixer to mix. And you want to mix it until all the spices are incorporated and it's very smooth. Now once you've gone in with those spices and you've mixed them really well until it's nice and creamy and smooth, what you're going to want to do is add in some condensed milk. Now condensed milk is actually what I'm going to use as my form of sweetness today. The reason being is because the condensed milk is actually going to give it a nice creamy texture as well as that sweet taste that we need. So once you add the condensed milk in, you're going to go ahead and mix it up really well until it is all incorporated throughout that cream cheese mixture. So as you guys can see, I've switched back to using my hand mixer, and this is just going to help me get a nice creamy texture as I mix this cream together for the tiramisu. All I wanted to do is mention as well that if you didn't want to use cream cheese, you could also use mascarpone cheese in replacement of the cream cheese. Now on top of this cream mixture that I have the spices and the condensed milk in, I am going in with heavy whipping cream. So once you finish adding in all of your heavy cream, you're also going to go in with a little pinch of salt. What this salt is basically going to do is it's going to enhance all of the sweet flavors in the dish and make you taste all of the different flavors that we've added in. So once you go ahead and add that pinch of salt, you're going to keep on mixing with your stand mixer or your hand mixer until it is smooth and super fluffy and that whipped cream has fluffed up totally. Now I wanted to mention that when you're doing this step, all of your ingredients have to be cold. If they're not cold, then that cream is not going to blend properly and it's not going to fluff up. It's going to stay pretty flat and smooth like it is now versus getting nice and fluffy. So once you've gone ahead and mixed it really well and it's very fluffy and doubled in size, what you can go ahead and do is taste it and see if you want to adjust any of the flavors. And once you do that, you're going to go ahead and cover it with some plastic wrap and you're going to put it in your fridge to sit while you work on the ladyfingers and the milk mixture. So I went ahead and I took that cream mixture that we were working on and I stuck that in the fridge to go ahead and cool down a bit. And at this point, we're going to work on the milk mixture that's going to soak the ladyfingers for this tiramisu. So to begin with, in a small bowl, I am adding in whole milk. And once you've added in all of your whole milk, you're also going to go in with some evaporated milk. And once you go in with that evaporated milk, you're going to add in your cardamom or your elaichi. And then you're also going to go ahead and add in your ground ginger. Remember, you can use a dried powdered version like I'm using, or you could also use the fresh one if you like that flavor. And after you add in all of those spices, you're going to mix it up really well until everything's nice and incorporated. And then once you mix all of those ingredients in, you're going to go in with some condensed milk. This mixture just has to be slightly sweet because remember, the cream that we made is pretty sweet. So we just need a little bit of condensed milk in here. And as I mentioned before, everything will be in the description box below in proper proportion. And I also wanted to mention that as you're mixing in the condensed milk and all those spices, you're also going to go in with some powdered milk. Remember, by adding the powdered milk in, that's how you're going to get that Barfi flavor, because Barfi usually tastes like how powdered milk would taste.
So you're going to mix all of these ingredients in really well until everything's nice and combined. So once you finish mixing your milk mixture to soak the cookies in, what you want to do is take your lady fingers and go ahead and dunk them in the milk mixture. You want to keep them submerged for about 6 to 7 seconds or until they soak up and you feel them get a little heavy in your hand. Now some brands of lady fingers will not soak up the milk as well as the ones that I have did. So what you're going to want to do is basically, for one layer of lady fingers, you want to use half of this milk mixture. And so if what you're going to want to do is if it doesn't soak up half of the milk mixture, you can go ahead and pour half of it onto the actual cookies. And when this tiramisu sets, it will actually soak up all of that milk totally. It just won't soak it up right away. You'll have to let it set a little bit. So I used half of my milk mixture to soak the first layer of the lady fingers. And basically once you finish your first layer, you're going to take that cold fluffy cream mixture that you made and you're going to go ahead and spoon half of it onto this layer. Once you get half of it on there, you're going to go ahead and spread it out as well as you can and get it as smooth as possible and all around to the edges to make sure to cover all of the cookies. I also wanted to mention that although I said you're going to want to use half of the milk mixture on each layer for the cookies to soak in, if you find that your cookies are definitely not soaking it up, do not pour too much of the milk mixture on, because if you do, the tiramisu can actually fall apart and be too wet. Once you've gone ahead and spooned that cream on and smoothed it out as best as possible, you're going to go ahead and sprinkle on about 2 to 3 tablespoons of that powdered milk. Now what this is going to do is give that rich, milky flavor to the Barfi Tiramisu and give us that barfi flavor. Once you've gone ahead and sprinkled a little bit of that powdered milk onto the cream mixture, you're going to go ahead and lay on your second set of cookies that you've soaked in that milk mixture, just how we did in a few previous clips before this. And once you get those soaked cookies onto this layer, you're going to go on with the rest of your fluffy cream mixture and you're going to go ahead and smooth it all around until it is perfect and smooth on the top. This is the part where you want to get it almost perfect, because this is the part that's going to show when you serve it to your guests or put it out on your table. And once you've gone ahead and spooned that cream on and smoothed it out really well, you're going to cover this with some plastic wrap and you're going to allow it to sit in the fridge for about 4 hours to overnight. I like to do it overnight because overnight just ensures that all those lady fingers soak up all that milk mixture and the whole thing comes together well. So this is what my tiramisu looks like after I took it out of the fridge. It's been setting overnight, and overnight will give you the best results as far as when you go to cut it and when you are going to serve it. And I also wanted to mention that when I pulled it out of the fridge, I went ahead and I sprinkled a few chopped up pieces of barfi on the top of it. If you want to see how I make my barfi, check out my previous video where I showed you guys how to make barfi. Now once you get these barfi crumbs on the top, then you can go ahead and serve it right away. You can also go ahead and put some sprinkles on top like you're going to see I'm going to do pretty soon. And that's about it. If you do not have barfi already made and you don't feel like making barfi, feel free to go ahead and just sprinkle some powdered milk on the top of this and then go on with your sprinkles as well. You can also omit the sprinkles if you want to, but I like to have the sprinkles on it because barfi to me just has to have sprinkles. And as I mentioned before, once you go ahead and add on all of those barfi crumbs, you're going to go on with some sprinkles. And of course, you want to use those candied, round, colorful sprinkles for this. Now, I also wanted to mention that adding the barfi pieces on the top as well as these sprinkles adds a nice little texture and a little crunch to the actual Barfi Tiramisu. So here's a little glimpse of all of the desserts that we had on our Thanksgiving table. We made the Barfi Tiramisu, of course. My aunt made her famous flan. We made a pumpkin cheesecake, a regular pumpkin pie, and we also had some apple pie. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and slice into this Barfi Tiramisu and show you guys how amazing it looks on the inside. Alright guys, here is the completed Barfi Tiramisu. It looks so amazing. As you guys can see, when you're cutting it, it cuts very easily. Just make sure you use a sharp edge spatula or use a nice knife to cut into it. And I promise you, you'll get nice clean cuts of this tiramisu. Especially if you allow it to sit in the fridge overnight, it'll make it much easier to cut. So this is probably not the best ending to the video because of all of the shadows in the picture. But this was because you see everybody's shadows hustling to get some dessert after we ate our amazing Thanksgiving meal. So this is me just finishing up a piece of this Barfi Tiramisu and getting it ready for somebody to eat and enjoy. I hope you all enjoyed this video today. Please go ahead and give it a nice big thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you're not subscribed yet, and go ahead and leave those beautiful comments down below.